जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवर धारी जय गिरिवर धारी गिरिवर धारी जय गिरिवर धारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवर धारी जय गिरिवर धारी जय गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा Prabhupada Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramahansa's Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramahansa's Divine Grace. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasudev Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Goloka Nanda Ki Jai. Raj Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navdvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samved Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Gaunitai Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Krishna Bhutla Shri Gopal Krishna Swamiti Namni Prabhupada Sasad. Charam Kuta Sadhu Bhutpada Namo Vishnu Sasadi Devi Gaurvani Vichani Devi Sasani Adi Paschati Tista. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. We are doing 49th chapter and verse 14 today. Shri Sukha Vacha Iti Anusamrita Svajanama Iti Anusamrita Svajanama Krishnam cha Jagadishwaram Prarudada Dukhita Rajan Bhuvatam Prapita Mahi. Shri Sukha Vacha Iti Anusumrita Swajanam Krishnam cha Jagadishwaram Prarudad Dukhita Rajan Bhavatam Prapita Mahi. Shri Sukha Vacha Iti Anusamrita Swajanam Krishnam cha Jagadishwaram Prarudada Dukhita Rajan Bhavatam Prapita Mahi. Shri Sukha Vacha. Yes. Nam Jagadishwaram Kita Rajan Vigitam Vakita Mahi. Iti Samruta Janam Krishnam cha Jagadishwaram Bhavatam Sukhita Rajan. Shri Sukha Vacha Bhavatam Prapitamahi. Shri Sukha Vacha Iti Anusmritya Swajanam Krishnam Cha Jagadishwaram Parurad Kishitarajan Bhavatam Pratimamahi. Shri Sukha Vacha Iti Anusmrita Swajanamam Krishna Jagadishwaram Prabhutam Dukita Rajan Bhavatam Praptiramahi. Word for word meaning. Shri Sukha Vacha, Shri Sukdev Goswami said, Iti, as expressed in these words, Anusmrita, remembering, Swajanama, her own relatives, Krishna, Cha, and Jagat, of the universe, Ishwaram, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Prarudat, she cried loudly, Dukita, unhappy, Rajan, O King Parikshit, Bhavatam, of your good self, Prapitamahi, the great grandmother. Translation. Sukdev Goswami said, thus meditating on her family members and also on Krishna, the Lord of the universe, your great-grandmother, Krishna, the Lord of the universe, your great-grandmother Kunti Devi began to cry out of grief, O king. Please repeat. Sukdev Goswami said, thus meditating on her family members and also on Krishna, the Lord of the universe, your great-grandmother Kunti Devi began to cry out of grief, O king. Om Jnana Trimandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshuranmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Dena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhuvaevacha Patitanam Pavnebhayo Vaishnavebhayo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Shivaya Krishna Bhutale Swamite Namane Prabhu Patasa Santa Charam Katasadu Bhagat Patata. Namo Shivaya Krishna Bhutale Bhaktivinoda Swamite Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatari. So again, was Sri Shuka Uvacha Iti Anusmrita Swajanam Krishna Cha Jagadishwaram Prarudad Dukhita Rajan Bhavatam Prapitamahi. Sukdev Goswami said, thus meditating on her family members and also on Krishna, the Lord of the universe, your great-grandmother Kunti Devi began to cry out in grief, O king. So there is no commentary, so we're going to read the commentaries by the Goswamis. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, the great-grandmother Prapitamahi or Parikshit Kunti then cried. And Jiva Goswami says, repeatedly remembering Anusmrita, her parents and other Swajanam, and Krishna as the Lord of the universe, or remembering Krishna, who was her friend, Swajanam, as Lord of the universe, or remembering Krishna, though he was Lord of the universe, as her friend, Swajanam. She became sad because she could not attain him, and then cried with choked voice, Prarudha. She was your great-grandmother. She had such affection for Krishna. You are fortunate to be her great-grandson. So Dev says this to increase Parikshit's bliss. He uses the word bhavatam, your, in the plural out of great respect. In joy, he calls out, O king. So this chapter, which is in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is 49th chapter called Akrura's mission in Hastinapur. But in Krishna book, this chapter is called Ill-Motivated Dhritarashtra. So, and I'm not sure if in this last few days that you've been reading this chapter, you've read Krishna book. Okay, so on this chapter, about this chapter. So I thought it would be good to start with maybe Prabhupada's words in Krishna book about this chapter, instead of my trying to get back into the chapter. Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, Akrura visited Hastinapur, said to be the site of what is now New Delhi. The part of New Delhi still known as Indraprastha is accepted by people in general as the old capital of the Pandavas. The very name Hastinapur suggests that there were many Hastis or elephants. Because the Pandavas kept many elephants in the capital, it was called Hastinapur. Keeping elephants is very expensive. To keep many elephants, therefore, the kingdom must be very rich. And Hastinapur, as Akrura saw when he reached it, was full of elephants, horses, chariots, and other opulences. The kings of Hastinapur were taken to be the ruling kings of the whole world. Their fame was widely spread throughout the entire kingdom, and their administration was conducted under the good counsel of learned Brahmanas. After seeing the very opulent capital city, Akrura met King Dhritarashtra. He also saw grandfather Bhishma sitting with him. After meeting them, he went to see Vidura and then Kunti, Akrura's cousin. One after another, he saw King Balika and his son Somadat, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Karna, and Suyodhan. Suyodhan is another name of Duryodhan. Then he saw the son of Dronacharya, Ashwatthama, as well as the 5 Pandava brothers, and other friends and relatives living in the city. All those who met Akrura, known also the son of Gandhini, were very much pleased to receive him and inquire about the welfare of their respective relatives. He was offered a good seat at his receptions, and he in turn inquired all about the welfare and activities of his relatives. Since he was deputed by Lord Krishna to visit Hastinapur, it is understood that he was very intelligent in studying a diplomatic situation. Dhritarashtra was unlawfully occupying the throne after the death of King Pandu, despite the presence of Pandu's sons. Akrura could understand very well that ill-motivated Dhritarashtra was much inclined in favor of his own sons. In fact, Dhritarashtra had already usurped the kingdom and was now intriguing to dispose of the 5 Pandava brothers. Akrura knew that all the sons of Dhritarashtra, headed by Duryodhana, were very crooked politicians. Dhritarashtra did not act in accordance with the good instructions given by Bhishma and Vidura. Instead, he was being conducted by the ill instructions of such persons as Karna and Sukuni. Akrura decided to stay in Hastinapur for a few months to study the whole political situation. Gradually, Akrura learned from Kunti and Vidura that the sons of Dhritarashtra were intolerant and envious of the 5 Pandava brothers because of their extraordinary learning in military science and their great developed bodily strength. The Pandavas acted as truly chivalrous heroes, exhibited all the good qualities of Kshatriyas, and were very responsible princes, always thinking of the welfare of the citizens. Akrura also learned that the envious sons of Dhritarashtra had tried to kill the Pandavas by poisoning them. And as we know from Mahabharata, there were several other places, other ways that they tried to undermine the Pandavas, including trying to have them reside in a melted Shalak palace. Akrura happened to be one of the cousins of Kunti. Therefore, after meeting, she began to inquire about her paternal relatives, thinking of her birthplace and beginning to cry. She asked Akrura whether her father, mother, brother, sister, and other friends at home still remembered her. She especially inquired about Krishna and Balaram, her glorious nephews. She asked, does Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very affectionate to his devotees, remember my sons? Does Balaram remember us? Inside herself, Kunti felt like a she-deer in the midst of tigers, and actually her position was like that. After the death of her husband, King Pandu, she was supposed to take care of the 5 Pandava children, but the sons of Dhritarashtra were always planning to kill them. She was certainly living like a poor innocent animal in the midst of several tigers. Being a devotee of Lord Krishna, she always thought of him and expected that one day Krishna would come and save them from their dangerous position. She inquired from Akrura whether Krishna proposed to come to advise the fatherless Pandavas how to get free of the intrigues of Dhritarashtra and his sons. Talking with Akrura about these affairs, she felt herself helpless and exclaimed, my dear Krishna, you are the supreme mystic, the super soul of the universe. You are the real well-wishers of the whole universe. My dear Govinda, at this time, you are far away from me. Yet I pray to surrender onto your lotus feet. I am now grief-stricken. With my 5 fatherless sons, I can fully understand, but for your lotus feet, there is no shelter or protection. Your lotus feet can deliver all aggrieved souls because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can be saved from the clutches of repeated birth and death by your mercy only. My dear Krishna, you are the Supreme Pure One, the Super Soul and the Master of all yogis. What can I say? I can simply offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Accept me as your fully surrendered devotee. And at this point, Sutta Goswami speaks this verse that we are studying. In this chapter, there basically 3 things really stand out. One is the grief of Kunti Devi, and accordingly her surrender. In fact, she was always surrendered, grief or not grief, in happiness and distress. In all aspects, she was surrendered. And the third thing is weakness of the heart. Who? Dhritarashtra. All this happened, this whole situation in Hastinapur happened because of the weakness of the Dhritarashtra's heart. Kunti Devi is very aggrieved because all of these attempts on the life of her sons. First of all, she had to bear the loss of her husband and had to be strong for her sons to bring them up. And then she and her sons were being attacked constantly by the sons of Dhritarashtra. Under the leadership of Dhritarashtra himself, in a way, his sons did not listen to him because he was weak-hearted. So, excuse me, we see all of these three aspects in it, in up to now, in this chapter. And the biggest of that is Kunti Devi's surrender as a result of all that is happening to her. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sardharman paritaja mam ekam sharanam bhaja. Am tvam papebhyo mokshasami masacha. So he says, surrender unto me. And when a Westerner in particular hears the word surrender, we don't see that as a positive word. We've been brought up to think of that as a weakness or giving up or surrendering to the enemy or losing. Exactly, you are a loser. So, but the fact is that our sixth Goswami, or seventh Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, has explained to us what this surrender really means. Krishna has told us that we should be surrendering. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has demonstrated and given us all of the reasons why we should surrender to him. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that, has told us how to surrender. What does that surrender really mean? In his poem, or 50 poems actually, in Sharanagati, he tells us what surrender means and how to do it. And in summary, there are 6 ways of surrender, or 6 steps of surrender that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given us. Everything that is favorable to serving Krishna. So Krishna told us to surrender. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur told us how to surrender. So service is one of the biggest ways to surrender, and to accept everything favorable to serving Krishna is the first. Giving up everything that is unfavorable to serving Krishna. Having a firm conviction that only Krishna can protect us. Always accepting Krishna as one's maintainer. Always be conscious that one is not independent in fulfilling desires. And always humbling think of oneself as the most fallen so that Krishna will take care. And we see all of these in prayers of Kunti. And in the last few verses where Kunti is praying again, there's the full prayers of Kunti in chapter 1 or canto 1, which are later on after the war and after everything. And these are before Krishna comes to see them and help them through the war. And so, all through these verses, you can see Kunti Devi showing all these 6 steps or 6 limbs of bhakti, yes. So in talking about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada explained about, he talked about the very famous song from Shanagati, Manasa Deho Geho, Jo Kichumor. So Prabhupada explained that to us. He said, first of all, he's surrendering the mind in this verse. And then, so get rid of all kinds of speculation in the mind. And then rendering devotional service. Yeah. And from that, one can get control of the body and senses and be able to follow all of the limbs of the surrender. So that this song really shows of this about the surrender process. Prabhupada explains that, therefore he says manasa, meaning mind, then deha, which is bodily senses, and sharira. Deha means this body means senses. So if we surrender the mind, then automatically the senses also become surrendered. But if we are not rejecting everything that is unfavorable, then we can't do any of unfavorable to the surrender or unfavorable to the devotional service, then we cannot serve Krishna. And if we cannot serve Krishna, we cannot surrender to Krishna. So it's all interlinked. By service, we can control our mind. Service we can only do if we reject everything reject everything unfavorable and adopt everything favorable. And we can do that only through learning from our Goswamis, from Srila Prabhupada, and especially through the books of Prabhupada, like Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction. I'm sorry. Oops. So, if we study those books, then we can understand how we can do our devotional service and how we can follow the directions of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But on our own, we can't do that. We can only do that in the association of devotees and under the guidance of senior devotees. Prabhupada told us that it is up to us to make choices that are going to be foundational, based on the foundational understanding. And he said we can have some sense gratification because it's like salt. So a little bit enhances our life, but more is too much. So we should not get too much into the sense gratification, but we need a little bit. So we're like, in all of our devotional service, we need to be, oh no, I don't know, sorry, this thing just distracted me too much. Somebody trying to reach me, like, gets me derailed. Sorry about that. So by studying Prabhupada's books, learning from senior devotees, being in the association of devotees, we can avoid all unfavorable things. And there is an extreme also sometimes on how we can take this. And sometimes we have to take a little bit of what is considered unfavorable, like we're talking about the sense gratification, some of the is needed a little bit because we are in this world, but we need to know what is the goal and how we're going to get there. And step by step we can get there. In some of the extremes, there have been examples of devotees not wearing shoes anytime, totally renunciating, and with all of that really hurting their bodies, consequently hurting their devotional service. So it may be considered sense gratification to take care of this body, but the reality is taking care of this body as a service to Krishna is a very important aspect of our life, and we need to do that. But we need to also recognize that Krishna is our maintainer. Okay? It's one of the limbs. And understanding that and seeing him as our only maintainer, we can surrender more. We can take care of our body to serve Krishna, associate with devotees, and follow the principles. But we can only do that if we keep in mind that we're not the doers. Krishna is the doer. We are he's the one who's going to maintain us. He's the one we need to surrender to. And this is what Kunti Devi did here. She just completely surrendered. And she's like, you are in charge. You do what you need to do. And when you're ready, you come and see us, essentially, and guide my sons. In Prabhupada quotes that example of Mrigrari, where he is dependent on killing these birds for his food. But when he stops killing, at the advice of Narad Muni, he gets all the food he needs. because the villagers help him get the food. So, in fact, he had so much that he had to distribute to others. So Krishna always reciprocates. Krishna maintains us. Krishna protects us. Only when we surrender to him. I mean, he maintains everybody, even an ant. But we think we are in control, and when we think we are in control, we end up taking steps that actually stop Krishna from doing what he was going to be doing. Because Krishna helps us get what we want, and when we think we want this, such and such, which may not be favorable to us, then he gives us what we think we want, which may not be suitable for us, which may not be conducive to our devotional service. I get that experience on a regular basis. And it's only when I'm struggling down a path and I think I'm fixing everything, controlling everything. And then I'm like, this is not working. You do what you want to do. And miraculously things just fall into place. But until we have that humility to recognize that we are not in charge. We have to surrender to Krishna. We have to recognize that. And so the surrender only comes after that, from that mood of humility. And only then are we able to surrender. Got 1 more minute. And by giving ourselves fully, we can have that surrender from which we can recognize that Krishna is the maintainer, Krishna is the protector, Krishna is everything. And when we work under the guidance of senior devotees and our association of devotees, we can surrender. The last thing was about the weakness of heart, but we don't have time for that. But we're going to be talking about that in the next few verses quite a bit. So, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Jai.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Angani yasa sakalem Priya priti manti Lasyan dipan dikayanti Jiram naganti Ananda chinmaya sadhu Jala vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami 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 Manusha Janamapaya Radha Krishna Nabajiya Janamapaya Radha Krishna Nabajiya Manusha Janamapaya Radha Krishna Nabajiya Namapaya Radha Krishna Nabajiya Janiya Shuniya Visha Koinu Janiya Shuniya Visha Koinu Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana Ratina Jamiloke Netaya Samsara Vishanale Divanishahi Ajvale Judai te na koinu pa Rajendra Nandanaye Sachi Sutta Hoi Lo Se Balarama Hoi Lo Nitai Balarama Hoi Lo Nitai Dina Hina Yata Chilo Harinama Udarilo Tada Shakshi Jagai Madai Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Yuta Karuna Koro Hoe Baro Narottama Dasa Koyane Teliho Rangapaya Toma vine ke ache amara Toma vine ke ache amara Manusha Janama Paya Radha Krishna Navajiya Janiya Shuniya Vishakoinu Hari Hari Vipale Janamago Aenu Janamago Aenu Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha Goloka Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha Goloka Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Shri Vrindavan. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Stutara, His Divine Grace, Abide Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Natakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Shri Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. O Lord Hari, I have wasted my life. Although I have taken this rare human birth, I have not served Radha and Krishna, and thus I have knowingly drunk poison. The treasure of divine love in Goloka Vrindavan had descended as the congregational chanting of Lord Hari's holy names. Why did my attraction for that chanting never come about? Day and night my heart burns in the fire of the poison of worldliness, and I have not accepted the means for relieving it. Lord Krishna, the son of the king of Braja, became the son of Sachi, and Balaram became Nitai. The holy name delivered all those souls who were lowly and wretched. The two sinners, Jagai and Madhai, are evidence of this. O Lord Krishna, son of Nanda, accompanied by the daughter of Rishabhanu, please be merciful to me now. Narottama Das says, O Lord, please do not push me away from your reddish lotus feet, for who is my beloved except for you? Srila Narottama Das Thakur Ki Jai. Chaito Darpana Marjanam Baba Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Sreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrandita miyamita smarane nakala. Eta jusita vakrivan bhagavan mamapi. Durdaiva medrishani haganina nuragaha. Trinadapi sunichena. Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Nadanam najanam nasundari. Yavitam benediction moon.